It's World Mental Health Day this Sunday, the 10th of October, and I've been thinking about what it means to have a World Mental Health Day and what kind of message do we need to send out to people. The thing about the coronavirus epidemic over the last 2 years, it's swallowed and consumed everything, and people have become obsessed with one physical illness, and it has left behind a focus on other issues such as mental health, I think, and it's left a gap there. And that has led to a huge deterioration, I think, in people's mental health, and I think it's probably time to bring the focus back a bit. And it's probably made things worse in a way, in that there's more loneliness now than ever before. I think there was an epidemic of loneliness up to then, but now we've institutionalized loneliness and we've enforced it almost, and we've included all these horrible terms like social distancing, which provide an excuse for society to become more selfish and more schismed and separated apart. And I think there's a lot to be done in terms of mental health. And the question is, how do we improve people's mental health? Well, there's been an awful lot of advocacy over the last 10 years, particularly on mental health, and it's moved into social media. And some would say that it's moved from a point maybe 30 years ago when there was a lot of stigma and it was not talked about in hushed terms, and now maybe the needle has swung the complete other direction, where in some cases some people would say that a lot of celebrities are using it on social media almost as a kind of a badge of coolness, and that I use that word advisedly, but I don't know what other word to put on it. But it's almost like a trendy label to put on an influencer these days, and I am somewhere in the middle between those two. I can see the value in people talking about mental health and talking about the suffering that they've gone, which is something that I'm doing here. Sometimes it feels, when you're looking at celebrities, and I can understand sometimes the cynicism that some people have, because I've been to groups where, well, I went along to one event, for instance, and there was a guy there who was in a rock band, and he was talking about that his crippling problem with depression, and he the way he illustrated it was that it was the 5th night of their tour in Japan, and that he couldn't just go on stage, and that it took him an hour to work up the courage to go on stage. And it was then that I could see how people would be quite skeptical maybe about a story like that, where, I mean, I've been to groups where, I mean, there's harrowing stories. There are people who would be in bed for a week, and their achievement that day would be getting up and feeding the cat. You know, that story was one that a lady shared with me at one point, and that is what it looks like for a lot of people. They are stuck in bed, and they are in there for days and weeks on end. So I can understand the cynicism of some people when they hear stories like that of celebrities who are at the peak of their career, they're making loads of money, they're followed by hundreds of thousands of people, they're adored, they're following their dreams, they're achieving everything, and they are, some could say that they're possibly jumping on a bandwagon which they feel will give them some social credit and credibility and paint themselves as human. That would be probably a summary of the... Now, I'm slow to be cynical about it, because I do suffer from it myself, so I'm slow to be cynical about anybody who would talk about it, share about it, but I can certainly see that perspective. On World Mental Health Day, I think we still need to continue that advocacy. We still need to be open. I think the best tool, and I've talked on this channel about medications and about all of gurus and everything else, I think the number one thing we need in order to promote good mental health, number one, is we need to talk, and number two, we need more social connection and interaction. We need to feel we're valued and loved. And sadly, I think the world is going the other direction, and all of this pious social distancing and stuff like that people have adopted so eagerly is driving society in the other direction. It's pushing people apart, and it's making people feel pious about doing that. And I think we need to go back to our old sense of warmth and community and connection. There's things that are more important than one simple physical disease. There is human society and human connection and community, and we need to go back to that. And I think that's something on World Mental Health Day that we need to consider, that we're humans, that we need to feel connected, we need to feel loved, we need to talk to each other like we're doing here. It's not physically face to face, but in some way we can connect. If you have any comments about this, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, and happy World Mental Health Day. Feels strange saying that, but I'm going to say it anyway. Happy World Mental Health Day. See you next time.